Hey, fragrance lovers and enthusiasts, welcome back to the Centaur Fragrance channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. And today we're going to be talking about Bentley for Men Black Edition. Yes, this fragrance is not one that not a lot of people talk about. Not a lot of people have heard about it and reviewed it, and I'm happy to bring it to you today. So this fragrance is a dark fragrance. Yes, there is a background and a DNA and a heart to this fragrance. It's a little bit dark. It reminds me of some of those black ice air fresheners, if you're familiar with those. There's a distinct, almost rubber-ish kind of dark black vibe. It might remind you of Bulgari Black distantly. It's a completely different fragrance, but some of this, it has some similar vibes. I think some of the similar aroma chemicals were used in Bulgari Black, the hockey puck fragrance, in this fragrance. And I also think that this fragrance has a lot of similarities to, Polo Black and Polo Black, or the double black version. This fragrance, I think, could also even be called a clone of, Polo Black. I don't know why that they made a fragrance so similar to Polo Black. I don't think Polo Black is a top seller. I don't think Polo Black is particularly desirable. It's never been on a hype train. It's never been particularly sought out. Maybe Polo Black is selling a lot better than all of us think. But they create a fragrance here that certainly reminds me of Polo Black. But the thing is, the citrus holds up, and the citrus lasts a lot longer in this fragrance. To me, it smells more of like a star fruit, which if you never had the experience of tasting or smelling a star fruit, it's an interesting, maybe like a distant cousin to a pineapple, but it has a little bit more of like an oiliness and a weight and a density behind it that's all its own. It definitely has a little bit more of like a fleshiness to it. This fragrance, the fruit holds on. The sweetness really holds on for a long time. This fragrance also reminds me a tiny bit of the slightly powdery nuances of the tequila booziness and tequila fragrances. That it's a brand, and I did reviews of their fragrances. And honestly, it reminds me of almost like an agave vibe at times from this fragrance. So, interesting fragrance, interesting concept, but I do think that the base and the dry down is missing a lot. I think that in the dry down, that there's not a lot that gives it weight. There is that dark rubberish vibe, but the fragrance really doesn't transition a lot. The fragrance really is missing like an inky vetiver, a dark modern patchouli, like a Tom Ford like patchouli, or it's just missing something in the dry down. Maybe a little bit of smokiness. Maybe throw something like a little bit of ambergris. Throw something into the base that really adds dimension to this fragrance. To me, this fragrance really feels like it's missing something. The fruit is nice. I do like that for a designer fragrance that the fruit is pretty long lasting in this fragrance. But the rest of the fragrance, as it dries down to me, is kind of a disappointment. It feels like Polo Black kind of does in a couple of ways, where I wish that there was more to the fragrance, a little bit more complexity. Anyways, this fragrance is decent. If you really like Polo Black, you might like this. If you want something a little bit different than Polo Black, this might be for you. Again, it does smell pretty different. There's not a lot on the market that smells like this, but it is too similar to Polo Black to be really an original, and I think that's a real knock against this fragrance. It doesn't smell original, and that's a big knock against it. But maybe you're tired of Aventus like fragrances. I know I'm going to say it. This isn't a Aventus fragrance at all, but maybe you're tired of Aventus fragrances and you want something that's a little bit different, but you just can't get over that combination of something dark and something sweet. This also might be something for you, but I'm not hyping this fragrance. I personally think that this fragrance is just okay. I don't think it's fantastic. Performance-wise, you're going to get anywhere from 6 hours to maybe 7. Maybe some of y'all out there have fantastic skin, better skin for longevity than I do, and maybe you can get 8 hours out of it. But I get anywhere from 6 to maybe 7 hours if I'm lucky. This fragrance is decent on the performance. Projection is about average. Sillage is about average, but this fragrance does smell a little bit different compared to other designer fragrances, and people pick up on this one a little bit better maybe than other fragrances because it does smell a little bit different. Now, compliment factor wise, this was a real mixed bag. Some people didn't hate it, but some people actually thought it was a little bit odd and they didn't love it. And some people thought it was kind of mature, kind of not really nice for daily wear. smelled kind of classy, a little bit upscale, and they quite liked that about this fragrance. They thought that this fragrance was interesting in that way, that it was something different and mature. I do have to say again, this fragrance comes off mature. I think that if you're younger than 25, you probably are not going to want this fragrance. It's probably not going to be for you. You're probably going to have to be 25, 30, maybe 35 plus to probably like this fragrance. And when I say something like that, it's only a recommendation, it's only a suggestion. If you're older, you can of course wear playful young fragrances, and of course if you're younger, you can wear a mature fragrance. Wear what you love. I always say that. It's only a suggestion, y'all, and I mean no offense by anything like that. So with this fragrance, what do I think about it with the price and my final thoughts? You can find these Bentley fragrances for 35 odd dollars if you look at the right places. I think that they're decent for the price. I would not pay retail. I would not go anywhere near $80 or so for retail of these fragrances. But if this sounds interesting to you, maybe you really like Polo Black and you ran out of a bottle. Maybe you want to try something a little bit different. Maybe this one smells a little bit more modern to you. Maybe you always liked Polo Black, but you want something more fruity. This might be something interesting for you, something that you really might enjoy. But for me, it's not a vibe I like. It's not a smell I particularly enjoy. And I do think that this fragrance needed to smell a little bit more classy. It doesn't smell particularly classy, and for the vibe of this fragrance and how it smells and how it feels, they really needed to make this fragrance smell classy. Uh, and for me, this smells like a casual, interesting, fruity fragrance that's kind of dark. I don't know what the vibe of this fragrance was supposed to be. This fragrance would have been a lot better. Again, making this fragrance feel classy, a little bit more crystalline, maybe adding some ambergris and a little bit of dark patchouli, and I think this fragrance would have been much better. But overall, it's a decent offering, but there's a reason why this one's not talked about very much. Very few reviews of it. There's no hype behind it. Not many people just talk about this fragrance. Anyways, hopefully you like my review today. Let me know in the comment section below. How's this fragrance sound? Have you ever tried it? What do you think about it? I would love to know. In the comment section below, help me out. Start that conversation. And I would love to know, maybe if you haven't tried this fragrance, and maybe if it doesn't sound interesting, let me know. What is your favorite dark fragrance? Let me know down there below. And while you're at it, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share the video, and tell a friend. So I'll see you next time, everybody. Have a good one. Have a great one. Stay safe out there. Wear what you love. And Bentley for Men Black Edition. Did you think you were going to hear about this on my channel? I always pull out something new for y'all. So I'll see you next time, everybody. Peace out, my friends. Wear what you love again. And bye.